This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so once again, very good morning and thanks for joining. So last session we complete the troubleshooting of Windows failure cluster, and we discussed a lot about Windows failure cluster, configuration part, installation part, and each and every properties. But still, a couple of things as to discuss. We are going to discuss next week when we are starting always on availability group. Okay, basically, today we are going to start Azure SQL. So whole this week we will spend on the Azure SQL database. It is a one of the PaaS platform. It is a one of the uh, PaaS platform. So let's go and create one more. Okay. So let me discuss. So when you specially go to the cloud, either it can be AWS or it can be Azure. Okay, or it can be Azure, it can be AWS, it can be GCP, it can be Alibaba Cloud. Alibaba Cloud. Okay, so if you go for any cloud provider, okay, any cloud provider, there are okay, three service models. So that is nothing but IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. Okay, forget about SaaS. We are not worrying about the SaaS as you are a SQL database administrators. As you are SQL database administrator, you no need to worry about the SaaS software as a service. We need to worry about the IaaS and we need to worry about the PaaS. So because our services have been part of any one of these two platforms, IaaS platforms and PaaS platforms. So IaaS is nothing but on premises. Okay, like how you are working in on premises, overall journey we will work in on premises. How you will work in on premises, same how you will work in the IaaS platform. So what is the difference you will notice means, in on premises this is our premises, our servers where we are having full control. But when you go to the cloud, when you specially go to the IaaS, you are having control on the operating system, but you are not maintaining the data centers. Means you are not maintaining the infrastructure. Either any one of your cloud provider who is maintaining complete your infrastructure, means data centers, networks, everything they will maintain. You will go and deploy your VMs, you will go and you will deploy your storage, you will go, you will deploy your networks, and you can use those services. But here one interesting option is you are having control on the operating system. You are having control on the operating system means you can access your operating system. But don't compare like on premises. On premises we are having full control. But in when you specially go to the IaaS, complete authorized by your infrastructure is completely maintained by any one of your cloud provider. But here one interesting is where you can have the access to the operating system. But I don't want access to the operating system. I wanted to just deploy my services, my data, and I wanted to focus on focus on my services, focus on my data. I don't want any operating system level access. Then you can go to the PaaS platform. So here you don't have any control on the operating system. In IaaS, you can control the operating system, means you can access the operating system. Okay, so you can do whatever you can do in on-premises, you can do, but infrastructure is maintained by your cloud provider. Here, infrastructure is owned by you. You people will own, but here Azure will maintain the infrastructure. Okay, so but I don't want access to the operating system. I just wanted to focus my services, I wanted to focus my data. Then you can try to prefer a PaaS platform. You can try to prefer a PaaS platform. PaaS platform as a service. Here you will get Azure SQL and Azure mi insert in Azure. But if you go to the AWS, you will get RDS, relational database service. Only one service, you can do n number of things. But in Azure, you are having two services. One is Azure SQL Database, one is Azure MI. In GCP, you will get GCP SQL. In SQL, you can do everything. Means you can deploy MySQL, you can deploy PostgreSQL, you can deploy SQL Server. Okay, here in RDS, you can deploy MySQL, PostgreSQL, SQL servers. So you can deploy n number of service as part of RDS. You can deploy n number of services as part of SQL, but not in Azure, sir, because being it's a Microsoft product dedicatedly for SQL, he created two services. One is Azure SQL Database, one is Azure MI. One is Azure SQL Database, one is Azure MI. Under free trial, you can do everything under Azure SQL Database, but when you go for MI, we can't do under free trial, sir. You need to purchase pay-as-you-go model. You can purchase pay-as-you-go model. So Microsoft came up with the concept called Azure Managed Instance, but you can call it as a instance as a service. It is completely instance, sir. How you are working when you working with your on-premises servers, when you are working with the cloud, how you will feel that when you connect to the instance, same feeling you will get when you are working with the MI service, but not like Azure SQL database. There are a lot of complexities when you go for Azure SQL database, especially. But MI looks like RDS. Amazon is already released RDS services years ago. Microsoft recently introduced, like 5 years ago, Microsoft came up with the concept called MI. How your RDS service looks like, how your IaaS service look like, how your on-premises look like, same how your MI will also look same. Azure managed instance will also looks like same, sir, but not like Azure SQL database. Not like Azure SQL database. Here you will see most of the compatibility issues, like lift and shift mechanism is not compatible. Basically, mainly, sir, lift and shift mechanism is not compatible. Means you can't take the backup of your on premises, you can't take the backup of IaaS and restore on Azure SQL database. Means backup and restore is not compatible. You need to use a different techniques to migrate your database to, especially to the Azure SQL database, like import export, okay, generate script, backpack, DACpack, DMA, DMS, Azure Data Studio, okay, or SSIS DB, or Azure Data Factory. You can use any one of the service, okay, any one of the technique to migrate your database to Azure SQL database, because it is not compatible with backup and restore. But when you go for Azure MI, it is compatible with backup and restore. Means you can take the backup of your on-premises and you can restore on Azure MI. You can take the backup of Azure IaaS VMs and you can restore in Azure MI. Backups and restores are compatible, not like with Azure SQL database. Hope you got it, sir. Little intro about where we are standing currently. So we already completed IaaS platform, especially how to deploy the VMs, how to deploy the networks. Only two concepts we discussed. Still three more concepts to discuss. In this week we'll cover that part as well. How to deploy the storages, how to access the storage account, how to deploy Azure Active Directory, how to access the Azure Active Directory. Still two more service we will discuss in this week, because that is also very important. Being you are a SQL database administrator, Azure data storage account is also very important, because nowadays we are taking backups on premises, backups to the cloud, because the storage cost is little bit cheaper. So how to configure the backups, how to take the backups to the cloud, from on premises to cloud, we'll see one by one. So in each platform, cloud providers like Azure or AWS or Google Cloud or Alibaba Cloud, We are having three service models like IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. Forget about SaaS, we are focusing on IaaS and PaaS. IaaS is nothing but where you are having control on the operating system, where you are having control on the operating system. But when you go to the PaaS, we don't have any control on the operating system. Means you don't have access to the operating system, sir. Just you will deploy the service, you will access the service, you will focus on your service, and you will focus on your data. You will focus on your service and you will focus on your data. Okay, now why we are going to the PaaS, Subbu, then I can go for IaaS platform. So medium scale applications, okay. I don't Basically application team don't want uh, handle the operating system. He wanted to focus on you on the SQL services. He wanted to focus on the data. Then definitely his preference will be PaaS. Definitely his preference will be PaaS. But some of the application team they wanted to access, okay, uh, operating system, because this is the VM. So for example, take this is my VM, sir. Laptop is my VM. So or let's go for VM. So this is IS. So if I wanted to access this operating system, if I wanted to access this operating system, and if I want to install SQL Server in this operating system, and also I wanted to install my application, and I want to run SQL Server application side by side. In that scenario, definitely I can go for IaaS platform. Simple, sir, very simple. If you wanted to access your operating system and later on you wanted to play with that operating system, better go for IaaS platform. I don't want any access to the operating system. I wanted to focus. I wanted to focus on my services, data. Then, especially you can go for your PaaS platform. Again, here one more interesting. So, based on your configuration, so Azure SQL database, uh, database versus managed instance. Okay, this window was, yeah, this window. Yes, this window is very important, sir. Okay, again, I will come back when we are specially going for migration. Okay, when you're just specially going for migration, I will definitely come back this one. Not only MI, let's go for versus. Okay, Azure VM. Only managed instance. Okay, no worries, sir. Okay, now for example, you are having three platforms now. When you start deploying your SQL to the especially go to the cloud. For example, if you are decide to go to the cloud, okay, so you are having three platforms. One is IaaS. Okay, sorry, one is IaaS means nothing but SQL VM. Okay, SQL on VM. One is PaaS. Under PaaS, you are having Azure. Okay, SQL DB. One is Azure MI. Azure MI. So you're having three different platforms. Now you wanted to move your data to the cloud. For example, sir. Now, first question you will get on your mind is which platform I need to choose. Correct, everyone? So how you will migrate that we will discuss later, sir. Okay, no worries on that part. First you will get on your mind is first you will get on your mind is okay, which platform I need to choose. Correct? I need to go for IaaS platform. I need to go for Azure SQL database platform. I need to go for MI platform. Which platform I need to suggest? Which platform I need to suggest to the application team? If application team don't know, please be mute. If application team don't know, I need to suggest the platform as well, right? So which platform you will suggest? which platform first you need to decide which will fit for my requirement. So first you need to gather the requirement from your application team. So what is they are expecting with help of this migration? On this migration, what is they are expecting? That is the first thing. And you need to go and see what is your on-premises structure. And also if you're moving on premises, okay, you need to go and see on premises structure, how it looks like. And after the migration also it look like same or is something else they are expecting. So first you need to get all this information from your application team, from your on premises structure. Then you can decide which platform I need to move, so that okay, my application run very smoothly. Hope you are getting, based on what services, what features, okay, what they're expecting from this migration. Once you gather all the information, then you need to choose which platform will fit. So, for example, a little bit confusion, Subbu. For example, in on-premises, okay, in on-premises, scroll down. So, for example, in on-premises, you are using file stream. In on-premises you are using file stream feature. Okay, after the migration also you need file stream. Then Azure SQL database and Azure mi are not compatible to the file stream. Then straight away you will get Azure VM, correct? Straight away you will prefer Azure VM. Oh, okay, in on premises we are using file stream. File stream is not compatible here. File stream is not compatible mi. So at any cost we need to go for SQL on Azure VM, because file streams are not compatible. So in memory OLTP. So for example, oh sorry, okay, for example, you are having in memory OLTP feature. Okay, in memory, where is it? Come on, where is it? Scroll down. In memory somewhere. Well, let me come on here. No, in memory. Strange. Yeah, in memory. Yeah, in memory OLTP. So in memory OLTP is compatible, but only based on the in-memory OLTP is compatible in all come on, in all the platforms. But again, especially if you go to these two platforms, especially sorry, if you go to the two platforms, again there is a concept called service tier. Okay, under here we are having two different service tier which we are going to discuss now. Okay, so under the premium, okay, service tier, DTU service tier, only in memory is compatible. Under business critical, only in memory is compatible. So again you will see little bit compatibilities again internally. So you can suggest, but how your Azure VM is deployed, how your MI is deployed, that is also comes into the picture. So when you are deploying Azure, especially PaaS, there is a new concept you will get. It is service tier, sir. When you compare with on-premises, you will get a concept called service tier. Under which service tier you deployed your Azure SQL database, under which service tier you deployed your MI. Based on that, again, in-memory OLTP is compatible or not, you can compare. So if not compatible, then definitely you need to go for IaaS platform. You need to go for IaaS platform. Like what kind of features, like column store index, polybase. So there are a lot of features, right? So for example, forget about the features. Okay, forget about the features. You are having three different services like integration service, analysis service, reporting services. Correct? So application team is telling, I want to run this service along with the SQL. Then damn sure you need to go for IaaS platform. So this is how you need to compare what I mean to say. First, you need to compare what is your requirement completely. What is your requirement? What they're expecting, and what kind of configuration being done in on-premises, and what kind of configurations are being compatible with these three different platforms and which platform will suit for your requirement while you are migrating this database. Clear? Not clear? All them people? Now you got idea? So if you
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to migrate to the cloud, okay, it's not as simply by telling, hey, go for Azure VM, go for Azure SQL database, go for Azure MI. What they're
One
expecting,
more,
yes,
doubt, sir. So for example, reporting service is configured on the on-premise. Suppose they are going to asking to migrate on Azure, then we can go for IaaS only, right?
yes.
Okay.
No, how they're expecting that is also directly I can't say yes. There is a separate service for reporting. There is a
Oh,
separate service. Either they want go for separate service for reporting, or they want to keep the
oh,
reporting service side by side in SQL.
okay.
There is a separate
Got it.
service for analysis service. Okay, there is upgrade level integration service, nothing but Azure Data Factory. When you specially go to the cloud, there is Azure Data Factory. So, first, what information you are getting from your application team, that is so sensitive, sir. Simply, I can't
Okay.
suggest that, okay, go for this, go for that, go for this. So, gathering information is very, very important. So, first, you need to do some homework before you present yourself. What kind of homeworks are these? Are all the homeworks you need to do definitely, right? Simply, I can't say, okay, directly go this one because reporting, what they're expecting, because they assume, sir, some application teams are so smart, they know in and out than you. Than you, they know in and out about the SQL. For when you are reaching to them, you need to so careful, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Some application team is they are in this learning, starting their journey to the SQL. Some application they know little bit about the SQL. Some application team they are expert in the SQLs. Okay, so little bit more careful, sir, before you are providing the data. So they're you are providing some inputs, so that inputs need to be little bit valid. So you need to double check, triple checks before you go to the application team. Means you need to do homework. Okay,
yeah.
so this is what basic intro, sir. Okay, when you going to the cloud, especially going to the cloud. Okay, so which platform you will choose? Now we discuss about clusters in Azure VM only. Again, finally, don't tell Subus or not you not discuss about IaaS platform. Okay, so you remember, right? We deployed the VMs in IaaS. We deployed SQL in IaaS. We configure clusters in IaaS only, right? Yes or no? And you can access the operating system. This is nothing but IaaS platform, sir. Okay, this is nothing but IaaS platform where you are having access, where you can control, you can keep your applications and SQL side by side. Okay, you can play with this like on premises, sir. But these servers are handled by your cloud providers. Either it can be Azure, it can be AWS, it can be Google Cloud or Alibaba Cloud. Those servers are handled by your cloud providers. Okay, make a note down, sir. Make a note down. Now let's go to the slides a little bit. Okay, okay. So Microsoft is enhancing lots, sir. When you start your journey from, most probably you people won't get a chance to work for SQL Server 2000, 2000, 2005 and 2008, 2008 R2. Uh, very rare case you may get chance, sir. Again, I am not telling that you never get a chance. Maybe, again, I am saying maybe you may also get a chance to work with SQL 2000 servers. Maybe still, uh, we are under 2022, sorry, 2023, but still we may using. Some applications are running with SQL Server 2000. No more are 2000, but still some applications are running with 2000. You can't say I won't support 2000, sir. You need to support. And there is no concept called SSMS for 2000. SSMS came from SQL Server 2005. There is a management tool. You need to open that management tool and you need to access that from via that management tool for SQL Server 2000. Lot of enhancement done by on SQL Server 2005, sir, because Microsoft redesigned its code completely. Redesigned its code from SQL Server 2005, and he purely came up with Microsoft product. Earlier, before SQL Server 2005, okay, uh, lot of Sybase concept came in. Sybase and SQL, but from SQL Server 2005, he completely redesigned his code. Now it's completely Microsoft structure. Before SQL Server 2005, from SQL Server 2005, and a lot of enhancement made from SQL Server 2005, and now we are standing SQL Server 2022. We are standing in SQL Server 2022. Out of this, SQL Server 2012 is one of the great feature where Microsoft came up with one of the great high availability concept, that is nothing but always on availability group in SQL Server 2012. And in SQL Server, only I'm explaining one feature, sir. We'll see later on. We'll see all in depth. Okay. So in SQL Server 2014, okay, he came up with the two important concepts. One is in-memory OLTP. Okay. One more is he upgraded. He changed the cardinality estimation in SQL Server 2014, that we are going to show you. Very important concept when you are troubleshooting the queries. So when you are tuning the queries, that is one of the first thing where you need to keep on your mind, under which cardinality your query is running, your database is running. That is very important, sir. That is upgraded in the version 2014. These are the two major features added in the 2014, sir. But in 2016, he came up with a lot of features like stress database, polybase, he enhanced in-memory OLTP, and he came up with the Power BI. So earlier we are using SSRS reporting tool. Now we came up with Power BI from SQL Server 2016, a separate tool with a lot of graphics, a Power BI. Now we are suggesting Power BI. It's like a virtualization tool in the year SQL Server 2016. And one more interesting concept he came up in SQL Server 2016 is basic always on availability group. Means you can install always on availability group under standard edition. But that is not always on availability group. You should not call it. You should call it as a basic always on availability group, because there are a lot of restrictions. There are lot of restrictions. But okay, you can install always on availability group under SQL Server 2016. That is the concept we are calling as a basic always. Some definitely, sir. Can I can I install always on availability group under standard edition? Yes, but from SQL Server 2016. Okay, that is the one great feature added in the SQL Server 2016. So when you go for 2017, fabulous, sir. Till SQL Server 2017, from SQL Server 2017. So till SQL Server 2017, we are completely Microsoft operating system lovers. We are installing SQL on installing in Windows operating system flavors. Windows operating system flavors. But from SQL Server 2016, Microsoft came up with one more flavor, that is nothing but Linux flavor. You can install your SQL on Linux. Either you can go for Red Hat, you can go for Ubuntu, you can go for CentOS. Okay, so there are lot of flavors are available. Under the flavor, you can install your SQL servers, and again enhance a lot. And you can install SQL on Dockers, you can install SQL on Kubernetes, you can configure clusters with the Dockers, you can configure clusters with Kubernetes. lots of things, sir. Microsoft is enhancing, but where we are standing is very very important. One second, sir. Okay, so you can install SQL on Dockers, you can install SQL on Kubernetes, okay, and you can play with the Docker containers, you can play with the Kubernetes containers. On Dockers also you can configure clusters, on Kubernetes also you can configure clusters. So Microsoft is enhancing lots, sir, but where we are standing is so important. Not only just whenever you are going for any trainings, whenever you are looking for something, okay, we are just looking clusters always on performance tuning. Rest there are a lot again. There are there are a lot, but may or may not get a chance. If you're getting chance, little bit lucky, sir. But initially you will face little bit challenges, but going forward you will become strong on those features, those technologies, those configurations. That is completely on premises. Same, sir, for Azure SQL and Azure VM. Okay, so whatever you can do in on premises, same thing you can do in the SQL server in Azure VM. Same thing you can do in the SQL server in Azure VM. Like same, when you specially go to the PaaS, there are two platforms. One is Azure SQL Database, one is Azure MI. One is Azure SQL Database, one is Azure MI. So these are the two PaaS platforms. These are the two PaaS platforms where you can deploy your SQL on Azure VM. You can deploy your SQL on managed instance. So technically, in a lay terms, you can call it as a database as a service, instance as a service. In a simple terms, okay. This is instance as a service where it supports lift and shift mechanism. Where it supports lift and shift mechanism. It supports, okay, a basic service. It's a basic database service, sir. It's a basic database service. And one more service, okay, going forward, uh, in on premises there is integration service. Okay, in on premises there is integration service. Okay, where you will create SSSDB specially for integration service. Okay, especially for integration service you will create one database, and you will grant the permissions, you will deploy your SSS packages, DTS packages to the database. Like same, when you go to the cloud, there are two services. One is Azure Data Factory, okay, one is Azure Synonyms Analytics. Now Azure Synonyms Analytics is the one of the game changer for Azure data engineers. For Azure data engineers, okay, Azure Synonyms Analytics is the game changer. A new tool, sir, which is introduced on 2019. Earlier, before 2019, there is a service called Azure Data Warehouse. There is a service called Data Warehouse. Okay, completely Microsoft redesigned that Data Warehouse service into Azure Synonyms Analytics. Now there is no more database or service. Now we are having the Azure Synonyms Analytics. Now it is a game changer for your entire Azure uh, data engineers. Using this service, you can store the data, you can spin the data. It's not like Azure Data Factory, sir. What is Azure Data Factory? Getting the information, doing some transformations, and loading somewhere. That is what it will do. When you specially go to the Azure Data Factory, what exactly it will do, sir? It will get the data. Okay, it will get the data. It will get the data. It can be n number of sources, sir. It can get the data from SAP, Oracle, Azure Storage Account, Excel, flat files. Okay, flat files. It can get the data from anywhere. Your source can be anywhere. It will transform the data and it will load the data. Load the data. ETL. Extract, extract, transform, load. Extract, transform, load. That is doing for ADF, Azure Data Factory. Even SSIS is also same, sir. SSI is also same. It is a cloud-based integration service. It is on-premises based integration service where you are extracting, transforming, and loading. But now this is the game changer. This is the game changer. Okay, where you can create the workspace. You can store the data, get the data, store the data, transform the data, load the data. Azure Synonyms is the one of the game changers, or whatever you do in with Azure Data Factory, whatever you do with Azure Data Factory, where is it? Whatever you do with Azure Data Factory, you can do with Azure Synonyms and also even more, and even more, sir, even more, because okay, you will create the pipelines here. Basically, you will create the pipelines, sir. It's not DevOps pipelines. It's not like a DevOps pipelines. It is Azure Data Factory pipelines you can create with Azure Data Factory. Same kind of pipelines you can deploy with Azure SQL database. It is integration tool, sir. Means a lot of stuff you can do with a single shot at one location. That is, this feature is introduced from SQL Server 2019. In case, what is your next generation? Subbu, after we are strong at SQL, okay, what is my next agenda? What is my after next 5 years where you wanted to stand? You can go for Azure Data Engineers, Azure Data Analytics, any platform, sir. If your key experiences keep on growing, okay. If you're just strictly strict with Azure SQL database, maybe there will be at a certain time there will be a point. There will be one point. But if you are extending your technical knowledge, keep on growing your experience while you are growing experience, there is no end point. Yep.
For data engineer, do we need a development knowledge for that?
Yes, sir. For DBA also you need development knowledge. Basically, no one knows. Again, I'm telling no one knows, but even DBS also you need development knowledge. But everyone will think that okay, for DBS there is no development. Yeah, you are not designing, but you should know the development knowledge. Because when you go for tuning, what you are tuning, sir? Queries only, right? Either it can be select query, it can be stored procedure, it can be functions, it can be triggers, it can be uh, um, views, it can be indexes. So you are going something, you are seeing something. You should understood, right, how the our application team designed the query, what sort of query it is. It is a delete query, update query, insert query, or select query, and how they designed that query. You will see massive codes, are like thousands of lines. The SPs will be designed. You need to go to that SP and see what kind of operation they're doing that SP, so that you can easily troubleshoot. You need development knowledge even for the DBAs, but everyone is telling that SQL DB is itself hard. Then when you will go for development knowledge straight away, sorry, the people who are already working, why you are simply strict with the DBS? Why can't you start journey with the development as well? Then you can also say um, Azure Data Analytics, sir. You can write the queries and you can place the same queries in the Power BI reporting services. You will get in the flow chart, bar charts, like graphical level representation to your application team, how much data you are spending on a year basis. So there should be learning, there should be no end point for learnings. Okay, that is up to us, sir. It's not depend on anyone. Okay, who need to pinpoint. That depends on us, where we need to stand after 2 years, after 3 years, after 5 years. Okay, hope you are getting what I mean to say.
Yeah, sir. Yeah.
So definitely, when you are attending interviews, also definitely they will ask you after 5 years where you wanted to stand. I am wanted to stand only for SQL DBA, correct? Or you will tell I am going to the cloud. I am exploring cloud. Now you are learning clouds are earlier. So 5 to 6 years ago, we are completely on-premises lovers. Now crowd is drastically growing, and now we wanted to industries. So where industry is standing, you are you are as per industry standards or not? Okay, so that's it, sir. So development knowledge for DBAs also need, for Azure data engineers also need. Okay, but for data engineers you need a little bit more, sir. Okay, it's not that much complex when you go for Java, C, C++, Python. Okay, Python is easy. Okay, C, C++ is the most toughest language. Okay, and Java, .NET. Okay, when compare with this one, SQL is easy language only, not that much complexity language. I mean to say you need complete developer, no sir, but you need a little bit more knowledge than DBAs, than DBA knowledge. Okay, little bit more sir, because you need to extract the data, transform the data, right? Okay, while you are transforming, what kind of transformation we need to use, what kind of data we are getting from different various source, okay, and where we are loading that data, definitely needs that. Same thing you will do in Azure Synonyms, but one advantage is you are having a workspace. You can store the data, get the data. Here there is no workspace. See, sir, where you are storing, either you can store your data in the Azure data, sorry, Azure storage account or Azure data lake, ADL, Azure data lake. So they will use Azure data lake, Azure data factory people, Azure synonymous people. Simple, sir. Just you need to check one box. Then it will feel one hierarchy. That's it. A simple, not much more difference between Azure storage account, Azure data lake. There are only smaller, minor things. Okay. So this is keep on enhancing, sir. Okay. Maybe you may also see when you just started your journey. Okay, you can also get lot many other features when you especially go to the PaaS. Means especially when you go to the cloud, sir, the cloud is drastically increasing, right? Definitely you will get a lot many more features than Azure synonyms. Maybe, sir, definitely. Okay, questions? And same things are here. We short description. Azure SQL database was released in 2010. Okay, performance-based tiers released in 2014. That we are going to cover tomorrow. Okay, elastic pools released in SQL in 2015. Elastic pools are nothing but sharing the resources, sir. In on-premises, especially in on-premises, the people who are already working, you know about the shared servers. Shared servers, will you maintain the shared servers? Means in one instance you will maintain uh, multiple applications data. This is my server. I install one instance. Okay, prod instance. Under this instance I will place 10 databases. Okay, so assume each 10 databases having different applications. Those kind of servers you should call it as a shared servers, shared applications. Okay, basically we'll go for dedicated servers, one application. So for example, RBA. Two is application. For this application, I'm having one prod, one dev, one test, one stage, one build, one pre-prod, one UAT. Okay, they will build the environments. Based on that, they will build the servers. These are all servers are dedicatedly for this application. But if you go to the shared servers, so these 10 databases are belong to different applications. These 10 databases are belong to different applications. One of the most hectic servers are these are, because assume out of 10 databases, one database is having issue, performance issue. The resources whatever are configured for this instance are not sufficient. Now if you wanted to increase, you need to talk to all these application teams. To find the application team is one of the more hectic in shared servers. Like same here, Microsoft came up with one concept. When you especially go to the PaaS, that is nothing but elastic pools. Microsoft came up with a concept called elastic pools. Okay, you can share your resources in elastic pool. With the help of elastic pool, you can share your resources. Now this is completely for Azure SQL database. This feature going forward, maybe going forward next year or coming year, you may also see the instance pool in MI. In MI, you can see instance pool in MI. Currently, elastic pools is dedicatedly for Azure SQL database. Going forward, you may also see the instance pool for MI. And Azure Data Warehouse. This is no more, sir, which is introduced in SQL Server 2016. Now this is completely redesigned into the Azure Synapse Analytics. Azure Synapse Analytics. There is no more called Azure SQL Data Warehouse Service. And Azure MI, which is introduced on 2018. 2018. So each service which here they introduced means basic is Azure SQL database. Finally, Microsoft stand on managed instance in 2018. But again, sir, why little bit strange why Microsoft came this service little bit late. AWS we are having, Google Cloud we are having, Alibaba Cloud also we are having. Microsoft came up with a little bit this feature, but now Microsoft is enhancing lot this instance as a service like anything, sir. Okay, we'll discuss about the service as well. Okay, any questions? No? Yes?
Multiple.
And so, for example, which platform you will choose? So I wanted to choose IaaS platform or I wanted to choose PaaS platform, sir. Okay, if you need to control over operating system, means I wanted to control an operating system, I want access operating system, I wanted to deploy DB and application side by side, and application servers and DB service application services, DB services side by side, then one and only one option is IaaS platform. One and only one option is IaaS platform. But if you don't want access on operating system, you don't want to deploy app services and DB services side by side, then I wanted to reduce the cost, then you can go for PaaS platform. Under the PaaS platform, you are having two things. One is DB as a service, one is instance as a service. Okay, little bit, sir, autopilot kind of things. No need to do anything. Just deploy your service, process your data. Everything will taken care by Microsoft. Everything will taken care by Microsoft, sir. Okay, not okay. Finally, a little bit, sir, about intro. Okay, Microsoft Azure SQL Database is a managed cloud database provider as part of Microsoft Azure. It is a Microsoft providing services, sir. A cloud database is a database that runs on the cloud computing platform okay, and access to it provided as a service. So Microsoft, all the cloud providers are not only Microsoft, all the cloud providers are providing it as a service. DB as a service. Okay, DB as a service. Okay, it gives the high performance without having worry about any infrastructure. You are not worrying about the infrastructure. Our main focus should be services and data. Our main focus should be services and data. Our main focus will be services and data. Okay. Okay, so Azure SQL Database is highly scalable, multi-tenant, highly available platform as a service, or you can call it as a database as a service offered by from Microsoft. Microsoft will taken care of operating system, storage, network, virtualization, servers, installations, upgradations, infrastructure, patching, maintenance. Everything will be taken care by Microsoft. Backups, Microsoft. Patches, Microsoft. Okay, upgrading the instance, Microsoft. OS, Microsoft. Storage, Microsoft. Network, Microsoft. Virtualization, Microsoft. Servers, installations. Most of the things will be taken care by Microsoft. Our main focus should be only the service and data. Rest everything will be taken care by Microsoft. Rest everything will be taken care by Microsoft. And a couple of key features, sir, when you specially go here. Okay, long-term backup retention. You can keep your backups up to 10 years. You can keep your backups up to 10 years. So if you wanted to keep your database backup up to 10 years, you can go for Azure SQL database. And geo replication. Okay, failure groups are compatible. High availability is also compatible. DR also compatible. Okay, you can use automatic performance tuning concept. So you no need to tune, sir. Most of the automatic tuning will work, and it can provide the sessions. Based on the sessions also, you can go and act. You can go and act. So all these features we'll discuss one by one. Okay, from tomorrow onwards we'll see one by one, sir. High availability. Okay, automatic backups and redundancy. Redundancy is also, sir, where Microsoft is making the backups in the different locations to protect your database backups, and so on. So there are a lot of things where you can handle as a DB as a service. Yeah, okay, sir. This is little intro about your complete about Azure SQL database. I'm stopping here. Okay. So any questions, sir, before we stop the recording?
Subbu, there is one thing which I just want to ask you. Like the document which you are talking about related to cluster, you haven't shared yet. Please share, in which you
No,
have the
please.
script and all. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, sir. I will share it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.